Oki.
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 Oki, and welcome.
We acknowledge that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains.
We pay respect to the Blackfoot peoples past,
Present.
and future. We recognize the thousands of Indigenous people
From many diverse nations,
all left their home.
including members of the Blackfoot Confederacy,
The six gates of the beat.
Akana,
Siksika. I'm Scoppy people.
as well as other First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We respect Indigenous peoples' cultural heritage,
beliefs,
Truth.
And relationship to the land.
It stretches back in time.
We will not blink at history.
We will not blink at history.
and we will learn from it.
Oki is an invitation.
A step forward.
In Blackfoot, Oki means hello.
Oki means hello.
Hello. Oki.
Oki.
Oki. Oki. And welcome to the lands of the Blackfoot people.
Okay, and welcome to our show, Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa. How did I get it, TJ? Was I at all close?
Well, I lost my cheat sheet, so that's what I was scrambling for here, but I'll give it a whirl.
Okay.
See which one of us is. Oh, here we go. Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa.
Oh, that was way nicer. Way nicer. Okay, thanks, TJ. So I don't know if Annette is joining us. Have you heard from her?
I haven't.
Okay, I talked to her earlier, and then she was going to get back to me and confirm. But I think she's probably on grandma duty. Most likely, she's got on that. I think so. Yeah.
Well, and I do have to slip away about 5 minutes early today because I'm on shared friend parenting duty.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let me tell you, TJ, about the perhaps faux pas that I made today regarding my Indigenous relations, and then you can guide me as to how I might do this better. I took a took a course last week about being an ally and you know, that kind of a thing. And one thing they addressed is about if you're going to ask an elder for information, that you would normally offer tobacco, right? And the offer of tobacco is to thank them and then to ask them, right? Is the way they explained it. So I didn't know what to, you know, so how does that look like, that kind of thing. So Nicole was this gal at the Canmore Art Center who seemed to know this. And so she was going to teach me how to do the whole tobacco offering thing. So what I did, based on her advice, I made these little baggies of tobacco. I used some red cloth, put the tobacco in a plastic bag so it doesn't dry out, because that was my wife's idea, and then tied it off with this little stringy, right? So I thought, maybe that might be okay. Okay, first of all, what do you think of that?
It all depends on your elder.
On the elder. Some elders would not be, they wouldn't like it.
Some would totally accept that with open arms and just be grateful that you understood and knew about protocol.
Okay.
And some might not be so willing. And I can maybe share a little bit more with you, but finish your story first.
Okay, well, here's the rest of the story. So I made up the little baggies. I thought, okay, it's tobacco. It's a red cloth. I think that might be kind of like, you know, I don't know, attractive or something. And the little rawhide type rope, that I think that might be good. Actually, when I went down to Fabricland to get the fabric, the lady at the Fabricland said that somebody was in there buying material to make tobacco offerings. And she bought red material. I said, give me the red material. That's got to be the right stuff. So that's what happened. But anyways, today I'm so excited. My wife and I made a few of these little baggies up, and I got to try this out, right? So I sent something to Annette, and I wanted to take her one and get her opinion on it. Like, you know, what do you think? But she never got back to me today, so that's okay. So I went to see Marilyn Contois, who does the U of L at the Eagle's Nest at the library. And I took her and I said, hey, Marilyn, what do you think of this? And she says, is that tobacco? She says, yeah. I said, I can't accept that. I said, oh, okay. So I thought that I was still, she has helped me with information in the past, and she gives me information on a regular basis. So I was thanking her for the information, but she said, one, she couldn't take it because she was a library employee, and that's a gift. And then secondly, she's not an elder, so she can't take it. So she's an elder in making. That's what you are. You're an elder in making as well, are you not?
I am apprenticing, yes.
Okay, apprenticing. So anyways, tell me, teach me.
Again, I don't know is that there's any one right way or wrong way. I have had this experience, and I have been given different teachings from different elders. So like I said, when I started, some elders would be really open to the fact that you have protocol and that you're offering protocol. I'll share with you some of my experiences.
Yeah,
I'll
please
just put
do.
it that way.
Please do.
So when I've made tobacco ties like that, it has been very gently shared with me that if I'm offering a little tobacco, I had better be only asking a little question.
I see. Okay, got it.
And that the teachings that I was given in that regard was around the idea of offering tobacco is meant to be somewhat of like a sacrifice for the person who's garnering the tobacco, right? So
Okay.
whether that's a sacrifice of your time or your money, or working to get money in order to get your tobacco, because back in the day, right, you would have had to have gone out, you would have had to grown it, you would have had to harvest it, you would have had to dry it, you would have had to take care of it properly, and so it's that like investment of energy, not
Right,
just
and it's kind of like it's a precious type of a commodity to have that you're sharing some of it with. Is that correct?
well, and that it's an investment in your time. Like, it's not just an exchange of an item, it's actually an exchange of energy, right?
Okay.
So the amount of energy that you are putting into getting your tobacco and preparing it and coming to the elder with your question or your ask. So I have learned that if I was going to ceremony, that I would take a larger portion than a small
Okay.
tobacco
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But again, it really is, in my experience, it really is elder dependent. Because, like I said, I have had elders receive those small tobacco pouches like that, very humbly, graciously, with open arms. And I have had others accept it hesitantly.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay,
that's
good.
that's my experience.
That's great. That's great advice. I appreciate that. So I'm kind of stumbling my way along, making some mistakes, asking some questions. But I mean, the conversation in the end, Marilyn and I and Jill, who happened to be there, we had a great conversation about, okay, well, what is the right way to do this? And how do you know who you offer that to? From my perspective, as a white person, every Indigenous person knows more about Indigenous culture than I do, right? From an Indigenous perspective, your elders know more than an Indigenous person. So kind of in my mind, an Indigenous person with some knowledge is kind of an elder from my perspective, because they know stuff that I don't know, right? Whereas in your perspective, you need to go to an elder. The average peer wouldn't know more than you.
So here's a really great example. So I was
Yeah.
just in Kananaskis this past week, and we were presenting at a conference. And when we were done our session, I had a young individual come up to shake my hand, and he had a cigarette in his hand when he went to shake my hand. And he just said, I really want to thank you for sharing your teachings, and thank you for today's session. And so even though I am in no way an elder, or do I consider myself in that regard at all, I just said thank you. And then I, right afterwards, went and offered it back to the land to say, like, that's what I've been taught to do anyways. I
Okay.
offered that tobacco back to the land to say, thank you for this young person, for their humility and for their gratefulness. And, hopefully, I ask you to hear whatever their intentions or their prayers were during our session today, and that you would hear them in a good way. And I ask you to take that in Creator's name. Right. So
Beautiful. Okay.
so even though I don't consider myself
Right.
an elder, in my teachings, I felt that it would have been disrespectful for me in that moment to have not accepted it.
Sure.
So I just, it was just a thank you. It wasn't that they were coming to me to ask for something specific. It was a thank you, which I think is a little bit different.
Sure. You were kind of the vehicle or the vessel for that blessing to pass through to Creator. Is
Right.
that, yeah? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we did smudge and prayer at the beginning of our session.
Yeah.
And so again, like, it was just being, I felt it was just a real humble thank you from this individual. And so I just received it as that vessel and then gave it back to the land.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. That's lovely. I think Marilyn had also said that when she was like in ceremony, dancing in ceremony, people would give her tobacco offerings, but not for her to keep, to only take in, like, to the elders to, pray over or accept, or, that kind of a thing, right? She was kind of the deliverer of that on behalf of somebody who said, whatever, they had a sick child, or they had somebody who was struggling with something. It was kind of an offering to get the person in the prayers, maybe, of the elder, that kind of a thing, I think, is sort of the process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Marilyn also said that sometimes elders will take the tobacco offering from a person, and they will, like, they kind of save them. Like, they put them on the shelf, right? And, the pink tied bundle I got from TJ. So that's why I remember to pray for TJ, or to think of TJ, or to, send love her way, that kind of a thing. Hey, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's lots of different teachings out there, and it differs from nation to nation, and I would say it even differs from elder to elder.
Yes. And the whole thing about, actually on Friday, the one of the sessions, there was an elder on for a big chunk of it. He was really, really quite funny. And he said, all it costs you is a Tim Hortons coffee, 2 creams, 2 sugars. And so that was his thing. This is what it costs to talk to this elder, kind of a thing. So he's very, very quite welcoming and very humorous. So I was going to ask you, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and humor is, so many of our elders have that beautiful funny bone, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
they talk about how it's so healing, that laughter is healing, that when you actually laugh, you actually change your cellular makeup in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I admire any elder who's got a bit of a funny in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
The other thing that I learned, this Nicole, who was at the Canmore Art Center, she had just lost one of their elders, elder, and he was a Stony Nakota elder. Buddy was his name, and he tried to kind of, oh man, I wish I could remember the phrase now. Do I have it here? Hang on a second, let me see. No. He basically had a phrase that he used, a Stony Nakota phrase that meant, I am here with you. I'm here with you to cry with you. I'm here with you to eat with you. I'm here to, dance. I'm here with you, right? So that I'm fully present with you is kind of the sentiment of the phrase. Yeah, it was beautiful. So.
Well, the other thing that I've learned about, the tobacco offering is that, you might go to an elder and offer tobacco and ask your question. and they may or may not accept,
Right.
right?
Sure.
If they, because the way I've been taught is that if they accept your tobacco, it's an agreement, right? It's a mutual
Right.
giving and receiving.
Yes.
Um, but that an elder or a knowledge keeper or a ceremonialist, they might not be um, in the space or place or be able to gift you what it is that you're asking for.
Right.
And so I think that's an important piece as we share this space, and hopefully others are listening, that, don't be offended if an elder or knowledge keeper does not accept. It just means that they're not able to
Sure.
give you what you're asking for. And
Yeah.
so
We have no idea what's going on in their lives. I mean, they might have lost a grandchild or something, and there's no way they can deal with that grief is overwhelming at this time, right? So yeah.
yeah, so I think that's a really important piece for us to be sharing, is that, you ask with no expectation, and then you also receive their answer without judgment.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Cool. That's great. Hey, tell me more about naming. Like, remember Annette has two names, right? And one was from one of her students, and the other one was from like more of a traditional type sense. So the one about her student kind of got me, well, like, so anybody you can go toss Blackfoot names around to people that, our friend Di, you're going to make up a Blackfoot name and that's cool, or like, how's that work?
No.
No. Okay. It makes sense to me that there's got to be a protocol. Somebody, okay, go on.
Again, I'm going to share with you what little I know.
Okay.
So I know up here in Treaty 6 territory, there are a couple of elders who gifting of names is something that they do. So you can actually go and offer print and tobacco, and you can actually, ask the elder to give you a name in ceremony. I also know that sometimes those names just come through generationally, like
Right.
a great auntie or a great uncle or a mushum or a cookum. They might see you, and they might already know what your name is, and they gift it to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then Annette's experience that she shared with us, I'd like to think that came somewhere through divine providence, right? So somewhere through creator, obviously, that student was inspired to gift Annette that name. So I wouldn't say that it's, in my experience, it's not something that's just done willy-nilly.
Right.
But
Like
again, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just saying that powwow a couple months ago or whenever that was, then they gave Mayor Blaine his name, and that was, there was a ceremony, and it was like, it was a big deal kind of a thing, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I stood witness to an elder that was given a name, and then months later, she herself did a ceremony with community to bring that name to life.
Oh,
So I think it varies from nation to nation, and what those traditions look like. I think some of them are historically, ancient, and have a long-standing protocol, and others have sort of evolved with society and with today's times. But again, yeah, I would just, those that I respect and look to as my elders and knowledge keepers, I would respect their teachings in that regard. So
yeah. Cool. Well, that is great. What else should we discuss tonight, TJ? At some point, we're going to see the next photos. Remember, we're waiting for the photos from Chicago and the story that she wants to share with us when she wants to join us again.
yes.
Anything else you and I should discuss for tonight?
I was thinking about it tonight, actually, and so I'm really glad that you brought up just the idea around tobacco offering. Because again, the other piece that I think is kind of missing that we didn't talk about is, having a relationship with the elder. I think that's an important piece. I'm really cognizant right now with everything that's happening with the heightened awareness around the 94 calls to action and the truth and reconciliation momentum that's being built up. I'm really mindful of our elders, and some of them are being cold called.
Okay.
And so, making the time, like if you are serious about wanting, to have an elder come into your community or your organization, or you're going for an ask, take them for coffee first, like long before you actually ask, take them for coffee, get to know them, I just think that we're missing those relational pieces.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. And it's got to be something sort of kind of organic that happens, right? The connections that happen and kind of develop, right? I think, right? It's not. I don't think it's something you could just kind of force or boom, boom, boom. This is the way it's going to happen, right? That isn't how the world works.
Well, and I think I again, like I guess I'm sharing what I'm saying with you tonight in wanting to protect a little bit, to protect our elders.
Yeah.
Because I think in some regard, sometimes they feel like they have to,
Okay.
right? And so again, just being mindful of where our elders are at, and not wanting to see our elders overextend themselves, and making sure that whatever it is that you're asking, it's within either their wheelhouse or their capacity. Again, just being mindful, I guess the message I'm trying to share with you is that we need to be mindful of our elders. And take care of them in a good way.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. Yeah, I see that. And I know as well, in the last course that I took last week there as well, they talked about, why you're asking for information. If it's extractive, you're curious, blah, 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 that's really not of any value as you being an ally, right? If it's information that you could use that maybe you have something to add or share or contribute to that makes for improvement, well, that's a different thing, right? Or,
Did you click your mute button?
I did click my mute button. Thank you, TJ. Appreciate that. I just said about extractive knowledge. Did you hear that?
I didn't catch the last half.
Yeah. Okay. The course that I took was talking about the reason why you're asking for the information. And if it was more of a curiosity or more of to benefit you, but not to benefit the person you're sitting across the table from, then perhaps that's not information that's not a valuable way to go about it, right? So I guess it's kind of the intent of why you're having that conversation of why. Is it to understand? Is it to assist? Is it to support? Is it, what's the reason for? Is it a curiosity? You want to, that I guess is what is your motive behind wanting to even have the meeting, to have a conversation, right? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
Well, I only have about a minute left before I have to run off. So
I think we're good, TJ. Let's wrap it up, and then we will hopefully Sister Annette will join us and share the Chicago story with us. So, okay.
That'd be great. I love tonight's conversation. I think it's been a real value add for anyone who's listening, who is really just beginning their journey in walking this way. So
I appreciate you teaching me once again, TJ. Keep yourself well.
okay, take care.
All right, thanks.